morning, everyone. My name is Michael Patton. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Saratoga Springs. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning for our virtual this year Realtor information event. We truly appreciate the cooperation and the support that we receive from our community, as well as all of our business partners here in Saratoga Springs. And we are truly appreciative of the fact that our local realtors play such a critically important role in welcoming all of our new families here to Saratoga Springs, to our community, and providing that first look of information about our school district. So this is we've done this event a few times. Pre-pandemic, we were able to welcome about 40 local realtors here to our district. And really, it's an opportunity for us to highlight the wonderful things that happen here in Saratoga Springs and our school districts. We are truly so proud of our kids, of our entire teaching staff, our administrators, our support staff, and the cooperation that we have with our parents, and just the incredible support, especially over the last 2 years, that we've received for the patience and the flexibility that our parents here in Saratoga Springs have provided to our school district. So we have just a variety of information that we want to provide to all of you. We have several members of our district team here with us this morning. We are using the WebEx platform for this virtual event. We're going to record the session, so that way if you have colleagues that weren't able to join us this morning live, we can send out a link to the recording so your agencies can share this with fellow colleagues, as well as the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to go through. We'll make the PowerPoint available to all of you as well for your future reference. So again, my name is Mike Patton, the superintendent. I'm going to ask my colleagues to introduce themselves, who you're going to hear from this morning. Dave?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dave Lamadou, assistant superintendent here at Saratoga Springs.
Good morning. I'm Valerie Elsawi, the central registrar for Saratoga School District.
And I'm Maura Manny, the Director of Communications for the district.
So again, the concept of having a realtor information event started several years ago. Again, based on the conversations that we have throughout the school year as new families move into the district, we feel it's important that you have access to the most up-to-date information about the school district, because we know when obviously families are considering purchasing a home within our district, one of the most important things they want to learn about is our school district. So we want to help you have the opportunity to provide potential home buyers with the most up-to-date information that you can have about our schools. So I want to thank many of you who participated in our previous events. And at the end of each event, we ask for your feedback about what are some ways that we can improve this event and make sure the communications that are coming out from the school district to our local realtors is as helpful to you as possible. We know that many of you not only work here in Saratoga Springs or you serve the Saratoga Springs community, but many of you are parents. So whether you've had your children are in the district with us right now, or many of you may have had children who graduated from Saratoga Springs. So again, we want to continuously keep you informed, up to date with all the wonderful things, the initiatives, processes, protocols, things that we have placed in the district, that when families have questions, again, you just have a general sense of providing them with the information that'll be important for their home buying decision. I would like to kind of give a shout out to one of your colleagues and personally thank Dominic Marcusello. Dominic has been a great partner of ours. He volunteered to serve on some of our important committees here in the school district, first as a parent, but also as a local realtor partner. And I know Dominic is on with his team members this morning. He helped us coordinate and promote this event. So again, we appreciate Dominic's support, and again, for all of you participating with us this morning. So we're going to flip over to the presentation. We have some introductory slides. In WebEx, there's a feature called Chat. So throughout our conversation, we encourage you to type your questions into the chat. We're going to save the questions for the end. So all of us will go through, we'll read the questions out loud so everybody has an opportunity to hear what the question was. We'll do the best we can to answer the questions that you present this morning. But obviously, there's always opportunity for follow-up. That if you have some additional questions based on the information that we shared this morning, and you want to reach out to any one of us, we'd more than really be willing to have a virtual conference with you, a phone call, or even a face-to-face conversation. So we're really interested in keeping the dialogue open and continuing this conversation throughout the year. So hopefully on your slide, you're seeing the presentation. So we'll get to the presentation mode. So again, this is a Realtor information event for all of you as partners to learn more about the Saratoga Springs City School District. And some of the information as to why we felt it was important to do this on an annual basis. We know based on the feedback that you've provided to us as partners is that Homebuyers list the quality of the school district of which they are deciding on purchasing a home is one of the most important factors for families, especially with children who are school-aged, K-12, comes to when they are purchasing a new home in a new community. So the types of questions that you provide us with the past that we want to kind of touch on, some of them briefly and some we'll get into a little bit more detail, is what are the type of questions that new families have when they're meeting with you, again, talking with friends and family and potential new neighbors, and the information and the questions that we get as a school district. So, you know, obviously with younger children, families going to want to know, we've got 6 elementary schools within our school district. So which elementary school would my student have the opportunity to go to? So we're going to talk a little bit about our elementary attendance flex zones, which is a relatively new concept here in Saratoga Springs. We've been implementing it for the last several years, but it is a newer approach that Saratoga Springs is using that many other capital region school districts have used in the past. And again, it's proved to be very beneficial to us. So we'll talk a little bit about what that process is. I know there's always questions about average class size. Again, there's always interest primarily at the elementary level, but also in our middle school and high school. So we'll give you some data that we're very proud of and the efforts that we've made as a district to keep our class sizes as small as possible. How do schools perform? And again, from an accountability perspective, all school districts in New York State annually report their student achievement data. And so there's information on the New York State portal about our school report cards. And again, we are very proud of the success of our students academically, as well as what are some of the extracurricular activities that are available. And we are, again, have a variety of things that our kids get involved in from the time they enter kindergarten right through graduation, with many extracurricular activities occurring at all grade levels, you know, right up to the clubs and activities that occur sometimes before school, after school, our music opportunities, theater opportunities, athletic opportunities. So again, just a variety of things our kids can do to get involved. The course offerings that are available at our high school, again, we are very proud that we all offer multiple pathways for our students from the time they enter into the high school. Some of those conversations actually start in 8th grade in the middle school because we have P-TECH programs that are pathway programs where students have the opportunity to earn college credit while they're in high school, right through entering into their freshman year of college. We have early college career academy programs that are offered in our high school, that are articulation agreements through local colleges. We have AP course offerings, we have career and technical education offerings, and just a variety of elective offerings in almost every academic department in the high school. So our school counselors, our teachers, administrators at all levels have just a variety of information available to you, both in print and online, that explain all the offerings that are available academically as well as extracurricular in our schools. And then finally, one of the most important things is how do we partner with our local law enforcement and local emergency partners to make sure we keep our students and staff safe. And you know, here in Saratoga Springs, we take a layered approach to safety. It's something that's reinforced almost on a daily basis, working with our students, with our faculty and staff, as well as our parents. We have a district emergency response team that meets regularly, that we invite partners throughout the community to participate and help us evaluate and support the emergency training programs that we have in place, as well as emergency response drills that we do with our students. And so that's a district level function. And then every building has their own building emergency response team as well, that helps, again, support the needs of their local school community, that also engages parents and students in, again, the ongoing efforts to keep everybody safe in our schools. So just some more information about our district. Our district has 6 elementary schools. Those are neighborhood elementary schools that serve kindergarten through grade 5. Our middle school up on Maple Avenue is for grades 6 through 8. And then our high school over here on West Ave is for students grades 9 through 12. So those are our district facilities. But as I mentioned, we have many programs that our students participate in that could provide opportunities for students to be working off district. And whether it's through the colleges, whether it's through the Meyer Center, through some of our CTE programs. So again, majority of the time our students spend here within our campus in our schools. But again, there are off-campus learning opportunities as well. We have numerous STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities, including K-12 Project Lead the Way curriculum, and also those early college high school programs that I was mentioning, where our students have been very successful in earning many college credits, which from a parent perspective and thinking about future college expenses, knowing that kids have the opportunity to earn college credit, build that confidence and get the support they need while they're still in high school, has proven to be very effective for our kids to be successful in post-secondary education. We have a strong support for the arts. Very proud of the fact that this year all of our music classes are back in person. We are able to conduct concerts over the winter, and with our music and our art instruction begins as early as the elementary grades. And again, for parents and community members who've been out watching our kids perform on the stage, whether it be for music or whether it be for our art shows or our theater events, it's just our students are so impressive, and we've got great teachers and mentors and advisors who lead those programs. We have 83 sports teams at our high school. We offer the most athletic opportunities out of any of the schools in the Suburban Council. So a lot of opportunities for our kids to be engaged in after school. Over 100 clubs and activities at our high school, offering enrichment opportunities for students. And again, those enrichment opportunities start as early as kindergarten, right through our students' high school experience. And one of the most important things that we have realized over the last few years is the expansive social emotional network to help support the needs of our kids, including we've got social workers in all of our schools. We have a partnership to have school-based social emotional clinics with some outside service providers, as well as Franklin Community Center has an outstanding program called Project Lift that exists in all 6 of our elementary schools, and it's actually recently expanded to our middle school as well. So great partnerships across the district with community agencies that help support the needs of our students and families. So our elementary schools, as I mentioned, we have 6 elementary schools who all follow the same class size targets. Dave's going to get into what our current elementary attendance class sizes are, and some of the goals of when our attendance flex zone committee met a few years ago was to help us manage class size across all 6 of our elementary schools. And we're seeing the benefit of that hard work in making sure we can provide all of our kids an outstanding education experience in all of our 6 elementary schools. We've made a dedicated effort towards technology, and Dave leads those efforts with his team across the district, offering all of our schools and our students access to the technology tools for teaching and learning to be able to take place, whether it be in the classroom or what we found, obviously, over the last 2 years, if we ever have to be in that hybrid or online learning environment, making sure not only that students but families have access to online educational resources. And we're very proud as a big district that we've been working on what's a one-to-one initiative. So by the time all of our students enter 6th grade in the middle school, right to the time that they graduate from high school, making an investment to make sure that all students have access to technology, devices that they use during the school day that they also can take home with them in the evening to do their work online. So our students enjoy a variety of special area classes every day in schools. So whether it's physical education, visual arts through our arts program, our music program, library media sciences. So our librarians in each of our buildings working with our students in the classroom, as well as music education programs across the district. So again, we talk a lot about the community partnerships, and we are very fortunate here in Saratoga Springs just to have a wonderful array of partners across, again, the entire district that are committed to supporting the school district, committed to those family organizations, our PTAs, our HSAs who help with fundraising and extracurricular activities and events that connect our students and our families to our schools. So, you know, those are the kind of things that we really cherish, and again, have seen in the last year and a half. How do we help improve that? You know, we're getting parents back and more involved in the school as things help continuously improve related to COVID. But we are very happy with the fact that this year we've been able to offer more of those extracurricular activities for our kids after school with, again, the concerts, the plays, the athletic opportunities that are, again, re-engaging our kids and re-engaging our parents back into our school. So, you know, just to give some examples of the relationships and the partnerships that do exist between Saratoga Springs and our community, we have a sponsor, a scholar program, that we have a dedicated group of community members that are working with our high school students from the time they enter high school to entering into college, and providing mentoring and also financial support for students to be able to go to college, and they may be a first generation member of their family to be able to attend school. I talked about Franklin Community Center and the Project Lift, as well as food and clothes and other resources that Franklin Community Center makes available to our students and families. Parsons is our partner when it comes to the mental health clinics that are available beyond what our school counselors and social workers and psychologists are able to offer to our families. We have that outside mental health support built right into our school program. The Saratoga Foundation for Innovation Learning is, again, a partnership, a group of community members dedicated to enhancing innovation, technology, and learning in our schools. Wellspring, again, is another awesome community partner that helps provide programming and support for our students and families. The local community colleges, whether it be SUNY Adirondack, Hudson Valley, SUNY Albany, some of the private colleges, obviously Skidmore College right in our backyard, as well as our Wishwe BOCES. The YMCA is a very popular spot for our students and families, whether it be before or after school care, or our students who utilize the facilities, again, from a health and wellness perspective. I talked about the partnership and the collaboration that exists between the school district and local law enforcement agencies and our emergency responders who are regularly in our schools, whether it be our full-time SROs, or their cooperation and support of our district emergency response teams. And then the business partnerships. So it's conversations like this that we're having with you today about hands-on opportunities that engage our kids in making those real-world connections for what they're learning in school to maybe some career opportunities for them after they complete their education. So we have kids doing internships every year. And again, very thankful that businesses have opened up their doors and provided opportunities for CEIP, which is the Career Exploration Internship Program. Every year we have about 100 kids in the senior class that are out doing internships in the community, which is just an incredible experience and an opportunity that many of us as adults, I think, wish we could have had when we were in high school, thinking about what a potential career path can be. And also the opportunity to bring in speakers and presenters into the classrooms. And again, our teachers always value those opportunities. And whether it be our parents or our business partners, offering that up. Again, that's been difficult for the last year or so, but we're starting to open up more of those opportunities. And again, if you're somebody that, again, we'd be willing to offer your expertise and support and be willing to volunteer or again, to present in a classroom, especially about real estate. I think there's a lot of kids that would be interested in the field. We'd love to have you in our classrooms. So this is the last slide I'm going to have, and I'm going to turn over to the team. This is our Pathways vision statement. And so a few years ago, we brought our entire school community together. We started with our students to gather their feedback about the educational experience that they're having here in our schools. And, you know, what are areas that we do really well? What are things that we can improve upon? We did the same thing with a parent group and community group to get their feedback. We gathered feedback from our faculty, staff, and administration. And ultimately, we came up with kind of a redefined vision statement for the school district that's really focused on 4 core beliefs. And those are equity of opportunity, collaboration, communication, and community. Obviously, community involvement is so critically important, and personalizing the learning experience for all kids. So this really helps it guide the important work of our school district. And ultimately, it helps us align all the initiatives that we have here in the district with our Pathways vision statement. So you'll see this oftentimes presented at the beginning of community presentations. And it really helps us, again, align the key initiatives that are going on across the district to keep us focused on doing what's best for our students. So I'm going to turn it over to Dave, and he's going to talk a little bit more about capital project and other critical things about the district.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to share briefly that the district has just begun a very significant capital project. This is great information to share with potential new families moving into the district. It was approved by the school community last year. As you can see on the slides, about $129 million project. It's going to have impacts on all 8 of our school buildings, including system things like HVAC systems, roofs, but also we are going to be remodeling classrooms in all of our buildings as well. Not all of them, but some of the classrooms. And you can see the length of time. There's going to be work going on in the district through 2028 to finish this particular project. And you see some of the scope. There'll be improvements also in safety and security, building improvements, energy efficiencies, and then the classroom renovation piece is the educational programs component. Let me see if I can show you if this works. These are some renderings, and Maura Manning put this together for us. And this was already approved by the voters back in December. But if you can see,
we're only seeing the PowerPoint.
Got it. Hang on a second. Sorry. Can you guys see that now? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a flyer that Maura Manning, our Director of Communications, had put together. And again, it just highlights some of the great work. A renovation of our library and media center over at Geyser Road, our elementary school. This is kind of a conceptual design of a new modern classroom at the elementary level. There also will be new classrooms at our middle school and our high school. And that's kind of an example over here. We also are going to be adding a brand new high school fitness wellness center. Redoing kind of the entry and opening of our high school. There'll be an extended learning commons area. And we've got significant work of our high school cafeteria, our Maple Avenue cafeteria, and also Dorothy Nolan cafeteria. And then this is also kind of, again, conceptual rendering of what our Maple Avenue Middle School, the new front or entranceway will look like as well. So I just wanted to give you some visuals, and hopefully it helps to highlight. And again, it's a great document to share as we move forward. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Yep, okay. So I also want to talk a little bit about district enrollment and class size, and then we'll actually get into flex zones, attendance zones, and kind of how our students placed at these elementary buildings. So our district, as you can see in the chart, has approximately 6,000 students. As Mike already said, we have 6 elementary schools, a middle school, and a high school. And you can see in the chart, that's the approximate enrollments that we currently have. At our elementary level, around 2,600 students. Those aren't our class size targets, but those are our current class size averages. Again, good information to share. And you can see going across the board, 19 students at kindergarten, and then at 5th grade, around 23 students. So let me talk a little bit about our attendance zones and flex zones. So you'll see in a minute, we have 6 attendance zones in our district based on our elementary schools, but we've also created the last few years something called flex zones. And you'll see the flex zones incorporate multiple schools. So if you're buying a house or a new family coming into the area and you're buying a house in a flex zone, you could be assigned up to 3 different schools, and I'll go over that. The purpose of the flex zones was to allow us to help to balance our class sizes. And actually we are working, it's kind of a 6-year process of enabling smaller class size targets. We're hoping this will help to allow us to utilize our resources more efficiently, create shorter bus rides. We always try to provide continuity for students' elementary career. So when a student is placed, in most cases, we'd like them to be able to finish their school career at that elementary school. Trying to keep families together. The flex zones also allow us flexibility for future changes in demographics. Sometimes new housing developments come in, new industry comes in, which can impact these zones. So this, I want to make sure everybody can see the map. So you can see this is our district, the geographical layout of our district. Greenfield, Dorothy Nolan, Lake Avenue, Caroline, Geyser, Division. Our elementary schools have attendance zones, and then you can see in the side there the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we have created, we have created 5 attendance zones. And again, those different zones, if you look in the chart up on the left there, it talks about like zone 1. If you live in zone 1, you could be placed at either Dorothy Nolan and Lake, again, based on existing class size, based on resources, staffing, programs. Certain programs are only often offered at certain schools. Those would be factors that we would then place the family or the students into a particular school. We also are, to the bottom, a long-term phasing out of this neighborhood, which was Lake Avenue, is moving into, this will all be a Caroline zone over here. So this is kind of a blow up of the zones. So if you live in this particular area, zone 1, you could either be placed at Dorothy Nolan or Lake. And again, it's important to remember that the school district is the ones who will place the students in either school. It's not a family choice. It's placement by the school district. Zone 2, and you saw zone 1 and 2 are kind of split by the Northway. And again, you could have Caroline, Dorothy Nolan, or Lake if you live in zone 2. Zone 3 is kind of our city, right in the inner city area of Saratoga. And again, you have 3 schools there, Caroline, Lake, or Division. Zone 4, if you live in this particular area, this could put you in either Division Street Elementary or Geyser Road. And zone 5 is the only zone that includes Greenfield. Because Greenfield is so spread out, it was harder to put that particular elementary school into a flex zone, but we were able to. And again, if you're living in that particular area, you could be assigned to Division Street, Geyser Road, or Greenfield Elementary. So we've also created an interactive map tool to help with this. And again, it's a great tool that you folks can please share with any potential families that you may be working with. This is on our website. I'll go to the tool in a minute, but basically you put your address in and it will tell you that you live in a flex zone. It will tell you that you don't live in a flex zone, and it will identify like what are your options. What you see on the screen here is you are living in a flex zone and you could be assigned to either Division or Geyser Road. And again, it's even on the map. Please note those residing in indicated boundary will be assigned to one of the elementary schools in the flex zone, again, based on available resources. We always encourage you folks to please direct families if there's uncertainty about where they live or are they in a flex zone, is to contact our registrar's office. You'll hear from Valerie Elsawi in a few minutes. But again, just to verify if there are questions.
I think one of the really important things that we want to reinforce based on the feedback that we've gotten from families when they come in to register is that ultimately the decision to be made is by the school district. So families, again, when they've purchased a home or moved into a home into a flex zone, the information that they're hearing is that we have a choice between these 2 or 3 schools, and that is not the case. So again, we are going to evaluate where we are based on, again, current class size, based on the resources available to us within the buildings. And again, the district will make that determination as to where those children from those families that live in a flex zone will be placed. So it is not a family choice. Hopefully that is something that we can continue to communicate out and that you can help reinforce when you're having conversations with families about how the flex zone works.
So this is, I left the PowerPoint for a minute as Mike was speaking, and this is the actual tool. Again, a link to this tool is on our website. Typically, I'll go over it quickly. You want to make sure that the district boundary and elementary boundaries are checked. When they are, if you kind of hover over, you'll see the different, there's Dorothy Nolan, there's a flex zone, there's Greenfield. And again, what I did just to save some time is I put an address in, and again, you can put different addresses in. It kind of drops a pin exactly where the address is. This particular case, this one is right here. This particular address is in the Geyser Road Elementary Zone. So again, this is a great tool, great resource to share with families. But if you do have questions, please reach out to our district registrar to kind of clarify anything. And as Mike said, super, super important that just because you live in a flex zone, you still will be placed by the school district in school A, B, or C, depending on what flex zone that you live in. I'm going to head back to the PowerPoint.
We have found that tool has been super helpful to families as when they're considering properties. They have, again, an address that they can use to kind of plug in. Oftentimes we find that they'll plug in an address and the address is in South Glens Falls School District, in Schuylerville, or in Corinth. And again, based on, you just don't want to assume, but parents will say, well, we were told that this is in the Saratoga Springs School District. And the reality is if they use this tool, it actually would show that they are outside the school district boundaries. And again, you're talking about now, again, a property in a neighboring school district. So again, anytime this comes up, this is a good first step resource. But again, you could always encourage parents to contact the registrar's office, and they would be able to confirm the house and its location. And first to make sure it's within the school district, and then again, if it would be impacted by the attendance zones.
I'm going to move stuff forward. I'm going to hand stuff over to Valerie. She's going to talk a little bit more about the registration process.
Good morning. So once a family has decided they are going to be moving into the district, and they've got a date that they're moving, we ask that they go online and complete the registration process through our online school tool portal. That website is located on the district's website. You can click there and go to the student registration process. Once they complete that, the forms, those are then sent directly to the office. We review them, we will be in touch with the parents, and then start the process of looking at the enrollment, what the class sizes are, if they're in a flex zone, what building they will be assigned to. So we do ask also that we've recently set up a new system for registering. So we ask that the parents make sure that they've got all of the information and the documents that they're going to need ahead of time, because while they are completing the application, we will ask that they upload their information, the proof of date of birth, the birth certificate, 2 proofs of residency, the photo ID, the official student immunization record and most recent physical, and if applicable, custody papers. Those are all, they can be scanned and then uploaded into our secure school tool portal. And I would like to mention that the, for example, the student immunization record and physical, that will now go directly to the building nurse for their information to have on file. It's not something that anybody else will see other than the health office for that child's building. The pre-residency tuition process has been put in place for those families that are going to be moving into the district and will be in the district before December 1st. It's mostly for families that, you know, they've closed on a house or they're having a home built and it will be completed within, you know, the first few weeks of school. So rather than have their child attend the school where they were currently living, we do allow for the pre-residency tuition process as long as they will be in the district by December 1st.
So our website, saratogaschools.org, is a great resource to direct families to who might want to learn a little bit more about the district. The website always has the most up-to-date information and key links for a family to learn a little bit more about a particular elementary school, clubs, sports. And the saratogaschools.org/registration is a great place to direct families to begin the registration process. That includes information about our flex zones, how to register, and a link to the attendance zone map for you or the family to search that address to find out exactly what attendance zone it is. And then direct communication with our registrar's office is always a great way to reinforce and check that address. Valerie is always happy to help families if they have questions about the process.
So that's all the information that we have to share with you this morning. But we do have a few more minutes. And again, we encourage you, if you have questions. Oh, great. So there's a number of questions there in the chat. So we'll be able to spend a few minutes just kind of going through the questions that we have already posted. And again, you'll have further opportunity that once we'll show out the link in the video as well as the PowerPoint. If you, again, still have continuing questions, you can reach out to any one of us and we'd be more than willing to help. So the first question was, again, will this information be available? Yes. Once we have the link to the recording, we will send it out to all of you. So you have a copy of the video as well as the copy of the PowerPoint. Let's see. Yes, we can share that. Once a child is assigned, can that assignment be changed during the elementary school year? So during the time that kids are in kindergarten through 5th grade.
So once students are assigned, again, we try to give them the opportunity to finish their career there. Again, if someone was to move during their K-5 career and they went into a different attendance zone, then depending on when they moved, and again, looking at resources, we may then move the child to that particular elementary school. There's also a process sometimes where, let's say a family moves into Geyser Road area and Geyser Road at 2nd grade is full and there's no room for that particular student. The district would do something what's called an administrative transfer, where we would move a student to, let's say, division. That student would be required to go to division for that particular school year. The following year, we would give them an opportunity to go back to their home school, resources available, or they could finish their career out in division if they could provide transportation. So it's kind of a gray area, but we do try to keep families together and we do try to limit transitions for our families if possible.
And I think a follow-up question was there is if a family has 2 children of elementary school age and they live in a flex zone, will both the children go to the same elementary school? And that is yes. You know, we make a priority to keep families together. Yep. Again, we do have situations where students of the same family, where one student may be identified with special needs and is in a specialized program that is specific to an elementary school. There is that, that chance that obviously a student, because of their needs, are assigned to a program in a school. And in that case, the family may decide to keep the kids together in the school where the program may reside, or again, with the parent, that's where the parent would have that choice about the kids, whether they're split up or they stay together. But if the kids are not in a specialized program, we always keep families together in the same school.
Valerie, about
Yeah,
purchase contract right here.
the question about home buyers registering their children based on a purchase contract. No, we don't register students based on a purchase contract during the school year. It has to, it's based on where they are residing. So the fact that they've purchased and have a contract for a home doesn't allow for them to register until they are actually physically residing in the district.
So someone just point out the fact about just feedback is, could we add some information about the special ed components to the presentation that families, again, sometimes have questions about the continuum of special ed services. And again, we can definitely in the future add that so you get a sense of which programs currently reside in which of our elementary schools. But again, if a student has an IEP, the best person to talk to is our pupil services office. Stacy Moulton and her entire team would be more than willing to speak with any family that is potentially have a student that needs any kind of special program in the district. Dave, you want to talk a little bit about walkers? So within the city flex zone, again, when families are purchasing a property that is very close or next to an elementary school, how do we kind of work through the walking situation?
Within 1/3, I believe it's within 1/3 of a mile. If you live with that close to a school, we definitely try to make that a priority. We have kind of that, we went over briefly, kind of a list of some of our criteria when we try to place a family. So if you are that close to a school, especially in the city schools, we do try to keep you at that school. Again, there are sometimes scenarios where no matter how close you are, again, that particular grade level or class is already full, and we may not have a choice then to either try to put you into if you're in a flex zone, to move you to a different school or do an administrative transfer. But that definitely is a component, and they definitely do get priority as we're kind of going through and try to balance and place our students.
If you look at the map for the city flex zone, you'll notice there are circles around the 3 city elementary schools, and that's that 1/3 distance from, again, the property to the front door of the elementary schools. And if kids reside within that 0.3 distance, where we do not provide transportation as a school district to elementary school kids, although they are walkers. And so a lot of families like the idea of having the opportunity to walk their kids to school in the morning. Again, it's a priority that we try to keep our walkers in the home school within the city boundaries. But again, it cannot be a guarantee. We do the best we can and prioritize that. But again, there has been situations where people literally are right outside that 0.3, and we've had to use the flexibility to balance class size.
I'm just going to go back real quickly to to that map that Mike was talking about. So this is the Zone 3 area. This is the kind of the shapes that Mike was talking about that was drawn around the city schools. So as he's saying, that is that 1/3 mile considered. And again, as Mike said, we do give priority to those families to try to keep them at those schools. Again, it's not always perfect. Sometimes we don't have a choice but to move them or put them in a different school if they're in a flex area, but we do try.
And I would just like to speak to the question about parents without internet access or scanning. We do have a computer at the district administration office where parents can come in and go online and complete the registration process and then give us the paperwork, which we will then scan into. So that if somebody does not have access, that is something that we are able to help out with. And I do want to just also jump back to the special ed component. When we get a registration, one of the questions on there asks if your child has an IEP. And if the parent has checked yes, that information is immediately sent to pupil services so that they are aware of a family that's going to be moving in that has a child with an IEP or special ed needs. So they do get that information at the time and will reach out to the family.
So that's those are the questions that have been posted as of now. We'll just give everybody just a few more seconds here if there's any additional questions that are coming up, and again, the conversations in your offices. Well, again, we truly appreciate your support and participating. We had just a ton of people on for this morning's conversation. So we look forward to the future of having the opportunity to have you all back and do this in person again. But again, we'll have this recording link shared with all of you. Any other additional resources that we can encourage folks to go to on the district website, as much feedback that you can provide back to us, we truly appreciate it. Again, we want to make sure that our parents and future students and family members that are coming to Saratoga Springs have all the information that they need, again, to make the decision as to purchasing a home here in the school district. So thank you for everything that you do to help support our schools. And again, we look forward to future conversations, and we hope you have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.